It was 3 wins out of 4 when City's faced Spurs last season, but that one defeat, of course, proving detrimental, knocking them out of the Champions League. Well, the two teams face off once again this weekend in the Premier League. And to mark the occasion, Stewart Robson is here to look ahead to this match. Robbo, what are you expecting?
Well, I saw both teams play last week, and Manchester City dominated the game against West Ham. And the good thing from their point of view was that two players that probably didn't have great seasons last year, Jesus through the centre-forward position and Mahrez out on the right-hand side, they came in for Aguero and Bernardo Silva, and they were probably as outstanding as anybody. Jesus made good runs, he linked up the play, but Mahrez was involved in 4 of the goals, and Man City looked a really good side, particularly in the wide areas. And when you saw the way Spurs played with 2 front players and Lamela playing in behind those 2 front players, I think the fullbacks for Manchester City are going to dominate the play, get it out to the wide players and play from there. So I expect Manchester City to dominate the game in terms of possession, and Spurs will try and play on the counter-attack. The one thing that is clear for Spurs, they missed Eriksen last week. For much of that game against Aston Villa, they were struggling in that game until he came on in the 64th minute and took the place of Harry Winks, who hardly passed the ball forward. So that's going to be key. Will Pochettino pick Eriksen?
Got to pick Eriksen, hasn't he?
Well, he's been a bit coy about it in his press conference, but he said, look, it's nothing to do with contracts. I don't care if we've got 5 years or 1 year. It's about performances. So if that's the case, he's going to have to play him. And if Daniel Levy chooses to sell him, there's nothing Pochettino can do about that. He needs to get results. Putting Eriksen in the short window, if he scores, a couple of goals against Man City away, is only going to increase the price and the pressure of other clubs maybe want to take him. That being said, it's a bit different playing Tottenham to West Ham. I thought West Ham were very disappointing last week, considering they've signed a lot of players and they were at home, how they buckled. But if you remember back to that Champions League game last year, I know it was in London, but it was the one game Man City were a little coy in their approach, and it certainly didn't suit them. Aguero missed a penalty. I don't expect that at the Etihad. I think it'll be all guns blazing at home, and I think Pochettino will realise that and play a little bit more of a solid shape in the middle of the park.
Interesting, Robbo mentions Jesus and Mahrez. Do you think they'll be benched this weekend? Do you think it will be Aguero and Bernardo Silva?
I think so. I think Pep Guardiola goes with this team because he knows that West Ham weren't going to put up much of a fight. I thought City, once Walker started getting forward a lot more against West Ham, City just took over the game. I expect there'll be a whole lot of changes, and Guardiola has even suggested that is kind of going to be the norm during the course of the season, that he is going to rotate his squad. It's a different test altogether, and I think it makes sense to have what you expect to be their best team.
Look, the options that Guardiola has are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The big problem that he has, well, do I play Aguero, do I play Gabriel Jesus, do I play Mahrez, or do I play Bernardo Silva? I mean, if those are the problems that you have compared to the problems that Pochettino has, in which, look, if it is about playing and making and having your team have the best chance to win a match, then of course, 100% Christian Eriksen should be on the field. There's no question that Spurs are a better team with him on the field. So I don't want to hear about if it's about performance or not, because he gives you a chance. Without him on the field, you have less of a chance. And coming into Manchester City, the talent that they have available, and now the addition of players that were not available last year, because if you consider Kevin De Bruyne not being available last year and available this year, you have Kyle Walker going down the right-hand side, and Bernardo Silva there, and Kevin De Bruyne moving off of the shoulder of the center midfielder, and then making runs in behind. And now the 2 center backs are going to go, wait, hold on a second, do we say we get in the middle? Do we push to the guy on the outside? It's too many options, too many talented players. Manchester City wins this, and wins this easily.
Do you know where? Sorry, just quickly. Do you know where they got a lot of joy last year? Tottenham at the Etihad was the early ball over the top when the full backs had pushed on.
Yep.
Quick ball over the top, and it was Eriksen a few times. He just whipped it in behind, and you had Son and Kane and all sorts running, and Mora running onto it when they were on the field. So that's the out ball for them.
But Son is not available, and so
no, he's not available.
Right. Let's take a look at the odds. City 11-4 on, Tottenham 7-1. Robbo, how do you see this one going? What's the score going to be? Who's going to win it?
I think Man City will win the game. They were brilliant last week. Spurs, I don't think were firing on all cylinders. I think Man City will win the game by a couple of goals.
Rodri much better as well, Robbo. No time to talk to you about him, though.
He was. He played much better. And he passed it forward. And he defended well. He had a good game.
Rodri, Sergio.
Yeah, exactly.
Jorginho played better in midweek as well.
Listen,
He passed it forward.
have a day off and go and buy a razor.
There you go. Let's say Arsene Wenger should be coming back next. Shaq?
City 3-0.
City 2-1.
City, dominant performance.